Snake Eyes from 1998 is my VHS watch for the week. This is a pretty beat up copy. I got it from Dark Side Records. The good thing is the tape inside is in really good shape and the movie looked great. This is one of 3 Brian De Palma movies I have in my VHS collection. I also have Raising Cain and Blowout on VHS. Snake Eyes revolves around Nicolas Cage's character Rick Santoro, who is a ne'er-do-well police detective who's at a boxing match in a stadium that is about to experience a hurricane. So it turns out the whole movie takes place in this stadium. His buddy, a high-ranking naval officer played by Gary Sinise, is guarding a politician who is also at the boxing match, who ends up getting assassinated. And for the rest of the movie, Nicolas Cage's character tries to figure out what's going on and solve the mystery. Somewhere along the lines, I got it in my head that this was not well regarded among Brian De Palma's body of work, but it was actually really good. I'm not sure where I heard that or where I got this idea, but it was a cool movie, and it stands with other De Palma films that I've seen. I'm a big fan. I'm not a completionist. I haven't seen all of his movies, but I know that I'm in for a treat anytime I fire up a Brian De Palma film. Nicolas Cage is, of course, the main draw here. He plays quite a character with his typical Nicolas Cage isms throughout the whole movie. He's very energetic and flamboyant. And Gary Sinise plays the perfect straight-laced straight man to counteract Nicolas Cage's energy throughout the movie. Although my first watch was on VHS, this is one I'd probably upgrade and get a Blu-ray of because I would like to see it in the full aspect ratio and high definition. But for a first watch, the VHS was fine. I really liked this movie. It's certainly not as good as Phantom of the Paradise, but I would recommend it if you like Brian De Palma films or thrillers in general and you haven't seen this one. Frequencies from 2013 is a sci-fi drama with elements of romance centered around a society where people have frequencies that are assessed and measured at a young age and determine how fortunate a person will be in life. Zach, who has a very low frequency, is in love with Marie, who has one of the highest frequencies ever recorded. When they come together, nature rebels and it creates dangerous situations for them and everyone around them, until Zach discovers a way to balance out their frequencies. This was actually a rewatch for me. I saw it a couple years ago and I absolutely adored it, so I wanted to show it to a friend of mine so I could talk about it with her. On rewatch, I noticed so many more details and I had so many more questions, and it was cool to talk to someone who was seeing it for the first time because this is the kind of movie where there are many unanswered questions, many things to think about and figure out, and many theories about the movie. Now, that doesn't mean it's some weird thing that you're not going to be able to follow. It has a pretty standard story on the surface, but it's one of those things where the movie is just about so many different things, and there's stated layers that you can pick apart and unstated layers and meta layers to this movie. After this recent watch, I went on some Reddit threads and saw some amazing theories that I hadn't even considered, and all this just solidifies my absolute love of this film. I think it's a completely underrated and underseen movie with a lot of truth and heart to it, and it deserves to be talked about in the upper echelons of indie sci-fi movies with the likes of Coherence and Primer. It really is on that level. So if you're looking for a movie that has some of those same qualities, definitely check out Frequencies. Estrela Nua, or The Naked Star from 1984, is a Brazilian psychological drama about a woman named Gloria, who is a voice actor who works overdubs on movies, whose life seems to be intersecting in strange ways with the woman who died mysteriously and whose place Gloria took on the film. This is one of those movies that I have no idea how it came on my radar. I browse the internet constantly for deep cut, obscure films from around the world, and somehow I ended up with this one. I went in completely blind, but what I found was a female-based psychological drama with themes very similar to major films that I've seen before, like Persona, Mulholland Drive, Perfect Blue, etc. This movie is creepy and mysterious, and I did find myself kind of rooting for Gloria to navigate this very strange situation that she's in. I also want to note that this movie has a strong erotic tinge, and there's tons of nudity and a little bit of sex. Nothing super explicit, but just be aware of that going in. But I really enjoyed this movie and thought it was really cool. There are a few rips of this movie here on YouTube, but as far as I can tell, none of them had English subtitles available. So I uploaded a version to this channel with hard-coded English subtitles. Unfortunately, there are a few scenes with written text on the screen that are not subtitled, but for English speakers, you will definitely get the gist of the story. So once again, if you're into thrillers with the main theme of female identity, I highly recommend Estrella Nua. And that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you for making it to the end. And if you enjoy these short movie reviews I do, I have a whole playlist of them on my channel. Thanks again, and I'll see you on the next one.